G2.
Welcome back, guys. Of course, thank you, Red Eye. I'm now joined by Launders. We are switching this up a little bit, but yeah, I think I've already said to you, I'm a little bit worried about this one. Of course, I think the statistics were twisted a little bit. It was actually that they got, I think, 2 rounds the first time CT side, then 3 rounds CT side, but they did actually manage to get 8 rounds on the T side against CyberZen. So they do have a little bit of an avenue, but at the same time, 5 rounds total on just a CT side of a CT map, that's a scary prospect.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, the fact they're playing G2 is scary. The fact that it's any map is probably going to be a disaster for them, but just because it's train in specific means they probably couldn't have messed up the Vetoverse, right?
Yeah, the only thing I'm really hoping for is, okay, say they do start on that T side and they just shocks, I suppose. They just really just scare them. I don't know, go out explosive. They've got some good players. Like Zig has been someone who throughout the qualifier I thought, okay, you know what, this guy has some talent. Of course, no one's denying that in esports, especially Koreans do have the talent. They have the will to learn. They have the dedication for certain. That's not even a question. But even if they did manage to shock G2, we can already say that what they're coming up against next is not going to be too much easier.
No, I don't think so. I mean, G2 is hard enough as it is. But if they do beat G2, then the floodgates are open. Koreans are just going to take the whole thing, and that's it. We can all go home. Just bow down to our new Korean overlords. Thank you very much.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, I'm hoping that maybe Europe will show us some good stuff, or, of course, the US, obviously solely in the hands of Cloud9. So a lot of pressure on them as well. But I'm hoping that Korea will show up today. Of course, they have had some time since the qualifier. Theirs was the first qualifier that we finished. So they have had some time. I'm sure that they will have looked at demos, of course. But I feel there's only so much you can do. Like individual talent, like we know that Shox, over the last few years, has still been one of the best players. There's no doubt. Nobody's going to go, do you know what? No, I think he was pretty bad.
Yeah.
No, of course. Like we look at, for example, I went to ECS as a viewer. And just got to watch G2 when 3 of their players step up.
Yeah.
Even SK couldn't stop them.
That was
in the
an amazing
final,
run,
so plenty to offer for them, for sure. And then after that, you've got to look at what they're coming up against. Definitely the team that is the most underdog in the tournament. Like we've seen CyberZen in the past, not so much on a European level. Tyloo have actually shown some upsets, so no real pressure for them. They've already shown that they can do it. For MVP, well, I guess this is their chance to show, okay, maybe don't underestimate us.
Yeah, got to start somewhere. Maybe the LAN, if they're not nervous, which is another thing you have to take into account, right? The first LAN ever, they've got cameras on them. There's people everywhere. They're not playing on their own setups, and they probably played LANs. They played LANs in the past, obviously, but to play at an international LAN
across the world,
in a foreign country, no less, is probably going to be an extra little bit of pressure that they have to deal with. But at the same time, they also have no one rooting for them in this. Well, not no one rooting for them, but nobody expecting them to take this map, right? So they can at least come in with a lack of pressure in that sense. And G2, on the other hand, have to either stomp them. It's kind of lose-lose for G2, right? They lose, it's the craziest thing that's ever happened. If they win, well, it's just another day. Just another day on the field, right?
Well, this could even be if it does go the way that I think the betting, the analysts, us expect, then you would be sort of saying, okay, yeah, well, they've done their job. Now they have to face against Flipside or FaZe. And in all honesty, in terms of this group, for G2, they should be coming out top.
Yeah.
In terms of where they're ranked in the world, in terms of how they've done in other tournaments. None of the other teams here have won an international tournament at all.
Yeah.
No, I can't even think of FaZe winning anything. They've got close. There was the major a while ago, but that wasn't even this roster.
Yeah, to be fair, this might be one of the better iterations of FaZe. But yeah, as you mentioned, they don't have any proven results.
So G2 have all the pressure on their shoulders. Now, I've already spoken about the knife. I am intrigued if MVP win it, if they will go for that T side. And just basically, that could be one way. They did say Shox watched some demos, but that would be one way to confuse the opposition, but they're not even going to get the choice, and they may just get stuck on that T side anyway.
Yeah, you can only assume G2 are just going to pick the CT. I think the only reason that you'd want to pick CT in this situation, if you're playing a team that's much worse than you can really make the rounds shorter. You can rush every round, whereas on CT you kind of have to sit and wait. But I am curious what MVP will have to bring on T side, whether they will start out with a more quickly paced tempo, or if they'll try to slow it down, default, and then execute. I'm not doubting that they're prepared, but do they have any idea what it's like to play G2 on LAN? No, they have no idea. And it's, I'm going to bring up that quote again. Everyone's got a plan until they get hit, right? And so I'm sure they've got everything figured out step by step. phase by phase, like map control, execute. Oh, we're going to take this spot. Oh, this player plays like this. But it's all going to fall apart when they realize that, you know, G2 have got not only the setups, but the dynamics, and then also just the individual talent. I think is going to blow them away. But maybe on an individual level is maybe one of the only ways that MVP will be able to prove themselves.
Well, hey, starting things off, they've got the first kill of the round. Argency will punish Shox for his initial aggression and actually pick up a second as well. So there goes the deadly duo already. A little bit of aggression comes out towards B, but now that those kills have come in, they are going to go for a full rotation, and this may not be the best choice because G2 have just straight up stacked the site. However, Zig is going to find another one over towards Ivy, and this is working very nicely. Body's going to be the only one remaining, and hey-ho, there's the pistol round for MVP.
Yeah, no, there was the game. Okay, there was the game before we get too excited. Where what was that team name? Game Gods, MTG Game Gods played against NIP, and they lost like 16-6, but MTG won both pistols. So if there was any round that they could probably pull off.
Come on, I'm trying to be optimistic.
It's one where the other team has less utility, less options in that sense, and it does come down more to aim. But nice headshots across the board, and it's clear that they maybe aren't so nervous. So that at least says something about their nerves right now.
It's hard to be nervous when you have nothing to lose.
That's true. Never take a fight with someone who has nothing to lose, right? Unless you have to.
Yeah,
in this situation.
Unless you have to, of course. But in this circumstance, we can see Smith's already going for a little bit of a save. Not really too surprised by that, but there goes Sound. Scream is going to rip his head clean off. This leaves 4 players. Of course, we still have 3 AKs in play, so not too worried just yet for the MVP side, but that could be a little bit of a shock in a way. Just, okay, we've got to calm down a little bit with the aggression, slow things down, and well, you can see they're very spread out at the moment. This does give a good opportunity for G2 to actually find an individual fight, although it does look like they're now starting to gather up over towards that B side.
Yeah, they had to be careful with how much they give when they're looking for info. This is actually the God angle that Body has. You only see their head when they cross, when you're sitting on this part of Euler. And it looks like the posturing of the terrorists is towards the B side, so there will be a lot of attention given over here, and a couple of rotators already coming out from G2.
Yeah, this is going to leave quite a bit to do. Shox already finding one, and this is starting to fall apart. Every single player dropping except for Zig, and well, maybe you did crush the dreams of MVP. They're already looking like they're about to fall back on their faces. Look at the AKs already being handed over. This could be better than actually winning the pistol for G2. They're going to get a load of free economy, unless Zig, of course, can go absolutely crazy, and I don't think anybody would be betting on that.
No. That would be ridiculous. And another 1D. Okay, so the thing is, you know, they went into their default. They barely gave Scream an inch, but he took that inch and he ran with it. I mean, he hit his first bullet on that player at Ivy, probably shook the world of MVP, who were like, oh, let's just hang out for a second and see if they push us, try to catch them making some mistakes. They don't even get that opportunity. And look at this little shoulder peek into headshot, and Sound gets sent back in time.
And, well, then it wasn't even just him. We had Body Shox as well with the Deegs. And as said, 3 AKs already picked up. We are going to see a little bit of money invested. Only Rinda really going for anything in this scenario. And, well, the one thing about that B site, you aggressively push, it is a high chance of getting a bomb down. Of course, we do have the singular player of Body playing a little bit of a, well, it's that individual catalyst role over towards the B site. You have one player there, normally a rotator over towards connector, and then the rest of the players are just ready and waiting for a retake. But I'm more intrigued by the actual positions of the remaining 2 players. A little bit of a lurk coming out at the moment from Zig, already getting tagged down, and RPK will end his life. And in terms of the rest, it is just going to be that aggressive B push. The aim of the game, a bomb plant.
Yeah, we see the rotator already coming out, so they took way too much time. I think the amount of time that you're allowed to delay for, wow, okay, miss spray from Body gets him punished, and these are a couple of kills that are going to come out that will allow them to make some money back on that previous round. Now also get a plant. I'm surprised about this because the rotate came out just in time. MVP, after losing their man at Ivy, decided to execute on B, but they took a little bit too much time and allowed G2 to get in position. In spite of that, they're allowed to get the plant down. That's 800 per person. That's a good recovery, and it's something that they really need right now, because when you lose the eco round, you not only lose the round, but you get reset and you're already at 0. So I don't know if we're going to see the decision to buy. It looks like one of their players is a little bit too low, and they're going to try to bring it to a round where they all have a lot of money. I respect that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And here they can actually half buy, or at least get half armor on a few people and try to add some utility into the mix, which we haven't seen them use, by the way. They've just been trickling into sites, even on that second round.
Well, yeah, this is definitely the value of that bomb plant coming out here. They probably would have had to eco either way. Rinda is going to find the first kill and actually grab a second as well. So a lot of damage being done at the moment. Shock's going to be isolated over towards this B side, but does have a quick rotation. In the meantime, Rinder's just going ham. He's got 3 kills in this round with the Tech 9, and this is starting to get a little bit surprising. 2 players left, an AK picked up for Rinder. The bomb should be able to go down towards this A site. They have 3 players here already. The rotation from Body, though, could be crucial and almost drops the bomb, but not quite enough to stop the plant.
Yeah. A little bit rough on the plant there, but now they have the bomb down. They have 3 players up. I think it's going to be G2 to be aware that one person is hurt. That isn't a whole lot of info on the A site. There are so many angles to check. Body going to be making sure that no one is coming out Ivy, but can't be certain of that even. And the time ticks down. One in heaven dies. That's a huge frag. One person left. It's Rinda, isn't it? No, it's Argency. Looking for the first kill. Does find it, but gets traded immediately by Shocks, and that's the round lost. Unsure how that happens. I feel like our man in heaven should have been a little bit more inconspicuous about his position. Is he had one of the best places to play clutch from and decided to take his fight early. Now, if he was going to take that fight, I think it needed to be corroborated with his teammate who was down by the back of bomb to peek with him, to at least trade the frag so you stay up 2v1. Instead, he goes down for free, and everyone's playing for himself. MVP lose the round when it looked like they were going to win. Rinda, though.
That was massive play from him, is all of his kills coming in one round. The other thing to mention is, if you looked at the beginning of the round and said they'd kill 4 people and get a bomb plant, it's not that bad. It's just because it came to a 3v2, you sort of say, okay, yeah, they should have won that now. But overall, not a bad round. Now we're just looking to see what they can actually do in this round, where they've got that big buy. They've got HSK on the AWP, and, well, we haven't seen that as an avenue for them just yet. Still a double AWP on the CT side, and in terms of setup, they've now gone much more aggressive over towards, well, both at the moment. You can see on B there's a push as well, and Scream has already taken 1 kill, looking for a second over towards main, but not quite going to find it just yet, and takes a nasty tag, so falls back.
Yeah, full flash one more time. Scream going to fall back to safety as Smiths helps him out, and now it's MVP to find out that there are 2 ops on the board. That only makes their lives 10 times more frustrating and scary, as Shocks can keep his attention on Ivy. All of his teammates are alive to watch his back.
No.
And Body isn't going to get cleared here. Free frag for him.
Yeah, now this is just looking like a clean-up round. Zig almost manages to get away. Definitely the player I want to watch on this team so far. As we saw a big play from Rinder in the last round, but this is the guy who is normally consistently fragging for the MVP side. Of course, a lot of that is on a sort of, well, a local scale. You wouldn't see them in too many big tournaments just yet, but maybe this will be the start. Of course, not looking like it's going to happen in this round. They did sort of save up for this big buy. It hasn't paid off, and now Zig, well, 1 versus 4 in a crossfire, and Body will close him down.
Yeah, that's about it. Now they have to go back to the drawing board, decide whether or not they're going to save. If they have any money left over, they do have the full loss bonus, full round loss bonus to look forward to because they got ecos. This is 5 in a row now for G2. I think if we're up to 5-1, if that wasn't just if the round hadn't counted yet. No, it was 4, yeah. But they have decided to buy in spite of that. So HSK is going to pick up the trusty UMP, and the rest of them are going to have a good amount of utility as well as AKs to assist them. But the double out from G2 is going to prove to be difficult to deal with, I'm sure. They haven't found an answer for either of them. And the flash comes out, a pretty good one, but Scream finding the better of his opponent between those 2 smokes. He's going to be able to fall back to safety, and now they don't even have to worry too much about map control.
Well, I think G2 have already started to adapt, because the main thing MVP were doing was just rushing out in different positions. So, for example, they went out main very quickly, so he just counters it by going aggressive himself and winning the aim duel. In terms of his push, this is very individual from Argency. There's actually no support. He tries to throw a pop flash, but it doesn't blind Body at all. And, well, this is looking like pure individual at this stage. Every single player just pushing out different avenues on their own. There was no team play at all. And although Sound is going to get a frag, that was not a well-constructed round.
No, not at all. You're absolutely right. I mean, one person coming out T-Con off of a flash to get a peek, okay, fine. Maybe take that fight. It wasn't good enough, the flash, by the way, to even bind Scream, so they're going to have to go back and figure out a new one for that situation. But another player coming out lower inner by himself to try to make a play. Yeah, it's 5v4, but now we're seeing a consistent pattern of everybody just doing things by themselves. And if you have teammates, you should use them to trade, because ultimately it's hard enough to win around on T-side, but if you aren't able to answer any of those frags, then you're only digging yourself a deeper hole.
And now we come to a buy which I'm not sure I'm too happy about. This is a real questionable one in terms of what we're actually seeing. They've just gone for some Tech 9s. They've forced up with a few rifles themselves. It's nothing too crazy, and I don't really know why it's coming in. They could have just saved. Now they do have max loss bonus, so they could have had AWPs, nades, whatever they like, but clearly they feel there's something to break here. The economy of G2, well, it's pretty sturdy.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, I think, from the outside. I guess the way they see it, doesn't matter how many guns they have, it's going to be hard anyways. But here's Body to look for the kill, doesn't get it. The trade comes out, or the opening kill comes out, which is answered back by Shox at some point now, 4v4 on the retake. Not an impossible retake, but still difficult. Good flash is going to keep the CTs hesitant. And Argency, nice frag.
Yeah, the aggressive plays coming out from MVP working quite nicely so far. Now it's a double AWP setup on a retake. It is probably the most retakeable site in the game, I think, statistically, but at the same time, with 2 AWPs, it does give a good opportunity for trades, but already 2 quick kills coming in. They've got a lot more to do, but Shox with the Deagle close one more. They've got to get on this defuse. There isn't a huge amount of time, and already we're going to see Zig try and push this one out. It's going to come right down to the wire, but there's nothing he can do now. Bomb plant will be enough for them to come in with a buy in the next round, but MVP, a 4 versus 3 turns into a 3v1, and they lose it.
Those are some incredible flashes. I think that would have been 15 seconds in total. Just blind for the rest of his life off of those. And there are little few to no options. I mean, you can be the guy upper, and yeah, that's a great place to be in an after plant, but if your teammates aren't pitching in and aren't able to take attention away from you, your job becomes close to impossible. I mean, you could see the channeling of all their utility into dealing with them. And yeah, just to rub salt in the wounds, Shox at that 1 dig that he really didn't need to. Come on, Shox, be a nice guy.
Yeah, don't bully them too much. It does seem like they're getting onto sites, so they're getting bombs down. So there is a positive, and you can see they will actually get a buy on the board. Interestingly, we now have Zig on the AWP, which I don't think we actually saw very much at all during their qualification stage. So clearly trying to give that individual a little bit more of a presence on the map in terms of utility. They have some Molotovs and some smokes, but there's still a couple of players with next to nothing in play. And, well, in terms of the setup at the moment for G2, it's pretty standard, actually. They've got a couple of players around the Ivy or right side for Scream. He's been sort of rotating all the way around the A site. But now this could be interesting. RPK may get caught with a nade in hand, and that's just a little bit of unlucky timing or prime for Sound as he finds the first pick of the round.
Now Smith's going to pick one up, and I don't know if that flash will do anything, but Scream catching Sound off guard after getting his initial kill, and then turning into a second frag, is pitching in more than he absolutely needs to. Rinda, they're going to answer back, and actually finishes off the round with another headshot, so look at that. It's hard to figure out exactly what happened, but in the madness that is outside on train, MVP come out on top. They put the second round on the board. What more is there to say?
Scream actually, well, he did some good work, but it just seemed everybody else fell without too much of a response. Aggressive push from Rinda. Again, he finds a double kill, and that works out nicely for him. That is all of his kills coming in 2 rounds at the moment, which is scary, but also they're 2 rounds that they actually managed to do a lot of work in. Still going to be a buy coming in for G2, and the buy is quite lackluster actually on MVP. They have rifles, but it's definitely not the best setup they could have. No AWP anymore, and more importantly, they're definitely on that reset train if they lose this round.
I wonder what the interaction will be on this smoke, and whether or not MVP are going to focus any of their attention on inner. It looks like they are coming back to aggressive. Body's going to spot 2 players jumping out. I don't know if they execute. It's going to happen off the back of this. No, I think that allows MVP to actually go back to their original plan, and it was probably a really good idea to just go back and test so that make sure that no one's going to big flank too easily.
Scream going very aggressive early on. He's taken over the main position, and, well, in terms of an A hit, he's going to be primed. If they actually push in here, they're going to be absolutely screwed. They'll have to take him out, at least at a trade standpoint, and he should know. The only problem is he's actually going to fall back. Timing not quite going to pay off. 50 seconds left. He's still in a decent position, though, and there's the bomb. They know where this is coming now. 45 seconds. He's just going to rotate over. Sprays down 3, looking for a 4th, but it's not quite enough. Smith will add to that, and now while RPK, it doesn't even matter. Shox comes in and steals away that frag, but massive round coming out from Scream, and there goes the MVP economy.
Not known for his spray control, but known
taps.
for his aim, and now has made a name for himself. That was really nice to get that second kill off of that spray, and then not only that, but contribute by getting the opening frag as well. So G2 shut down the execute before it happens, and that is the best way to deal with it, to get in their face. And I think that MVP should have at least left. I think if they were going to need to be a little bit more deliberate about what they want, and I think are trying to make on-the-fly adjustments, that makes sense, but they give up their default too quickly and then turn it into a different execute, whereas I think if they were clear about outside, ooh, wow.
Oh, there you go. Talk of one taps, and they appear. Tapping away finds A couple of kills, a little bit of help from Smiths in the end. They did only purchase up 2 P250s, I think a flashbang and just a Glock, so not anything too crazy. The one thing that did throw me off a little bit about the last round, just going back, was the fact that Scream got that first kill, and the players coming out of Pop Dog didn't seem to know he was there.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a problem, just communication basis, because you actually see it here. He sprays down, then when he goes to look to the left, there's still nobody watching that position until Argency comes out. So
yeah, so I think that the way that his teammates saw it was there's still one more guy in T-Con. He should be responsible for holding him down, but the op wasn't making enough presence to even have Scream's attention, so he didn't even bother paying attention to that and started to peek out, but yeah, they should have been more aware of that, probably could have posted up in ladder for a few more seconds, and we're probably way too committed to their original plan. But what I wanted to say was they have there's no shame in changing your strat midway through the round, but if they continually do so while also forfeiting map control, then like someone like Scream pushing into T-Con to get info and then staying there is going to throw a wrench directly in your plans, and the way to combat that is by holding onto that map control a little bit longer. So if they want to go into a default, pick a site, go to that site, congregate towards that site, but then change it, then they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot because they've got to take a little bit more care, or they have to pay a little bit more attention to the map control that they gave up in the first place.
Well, that's happened a few times now. Like we saw Body, he's gone very aggressive over towards B, and in the same sort of position, Scream does it over towards A. So wherever they go, like you said, they give up map control to a point where the second Scream hears them coming, he just falls back and holds an angle. Everybody knows that Scream's not going to miss those shots. That's nice, easy stuff for him every single time. And like you said, if they just held, even if they just held for, say, 30 seconds at the beginning of the round, if they catch out Scream, everything changes.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe a little bit more patience and to be deliberate out of the gate about what they want to do. And instead of changing their plan in terms of going to the other site, maybe they should, if they think it's the wrong site to go to, try to cause a rotation from G2 as opposed to just running away from them.
Either way, early aggression from Body. It's not going to be spotted out just yet, but it's actually Shox finding the individual who just pushed out onto A. A bit of a fake, but not really going to be too much. Argency through the Molotov gets one, but Shox straight through the smoke. We'll put this back to an advantageous position for the CT side. The bomb will be planted at least, giving them something for the next round, of course. Max loss bonus, I think, back in play now, although they did get that one round after the reset sound. He's going to go aggressive. I actually quite like this, but unfortunately, Shox is just too quick. And you look at the sort of position, Zik may be able to do something here, but Shox is just ending lives. He's got all 4 so far, only 1 left. HSK, he's got no hope, I don't think.
So he's not on the bomb quite yet. Could be on for the ace, which is something possible. He's also not going to be the man defusing, so maybe right here we'll be able to get it. It does lock it down with a nice, well, it looks like no scope, I want to say, but it could have been a quick one. Either way, an incredible round from Shox, who got all 5 kills on a retake.
16-2.
First kill through the smoke, no less. Yeah, 16-2 is farming right now. He's in it for the stats.
Well, he did that. He did that on the previous retake as well, didn't he? Got three kills, 1 with the Deeg, 2 with the AWP. So it seems like at the moment with the AWP, he's just being allowed to do whatever he wants. And really, you should be able to close that AWP down, a flash or something. But if he doesn't miss, it's a little bit more difficult. Smith's going to go with the auto sniper now, so just going to basically try and BM them out of the game just by spamming away. You can see this time they don't have too much to buy with, and that's going to be a problem. In the next round, they will be back, but it's getting to that stage. We spoke about the fact that the last couple of times they played this map, they've really struggled with the CT side. They're already not doing too well on the T side. To have a complete turnaround in the way that you play Train over a month, I don't know. Maybe not even that. It hasn't been that long, in fact.
Well, it seems that MVP are running through the motions right now and have some semblance of pretty normal setups on the T side of Train, but when it comes to getting out on the site, they're relying too heavily on having to get that first kill off of a really good, kind of a lucky entry, I want to say. I mean, off of either something missing from G2 or just a lack of awareness. But, I mean, that timing is important to be able to know when to come down into the site. Like, oh, I realize that this guy, I just spotted him. He's probably not in a good spot. Maybe I can catch him with a nade out. That's how we saw a couple of these entries happen. But it's not a consistent way, not a sustainable way to win rounds, as we're seeing by the scoreline.
The other thing I've got to like, I like the fact that they are going for these sort of rotational plays, but the main thing is I don't think I've actually just seen a straight setup where they just say, okay, we're going to throw some smokes onto the A site, you push here, you push here. It's always been, oh, well, now we've got to kill here, so let's just rotate away. And, well, you can see that was almost insanity from Zig, just run straight out.
I think he was just trying to get to, not hell, but just at the end of T-Con Train. Yeah, this closet right here. I think they wanted to escort him out and maybe cause someone to push in, but it hasn't happened. The smokes come out behind them, and everybody falls immediately afterwards. Ardency goes down to the auto. Actually, 4 players go down to the auto sniper. Smith has a round for
I think
himself.
they hit one smoke there that was blocking off the in-between of the trains, but they didn't. That was the big problem. There was no smoke blocking off Smith's. There was nothing over towards... I think he is up high, so it's a little bit harder to actually smoke him off, but that could have made a big difference in this scenario. And now they are just going for buy after buy after buy. They've sort of run out of time to start making their way back onto the board. If they could get to 4, then maybe there's a chance, but really are clutching at straws at this stage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 4 wouldn't make too much of a difference, I'm sure, but just based on the way that these rounds
do change it, though. Look, they've thrown the smoke up on top of the train, and this has actually given them quite an avenue to get out onto the site. Zig, he has got himself a couple here, looking for a third, not quite enough, but HSK. Oh, there's Shocks again. Shocks is just ending everyone who gets in his way at this stage, and that was better. I think that the smokes definitely gave them an avenue to get out onto the site, but this is it. This is where he was down below. That's an easy smoke to hit, and it was just like he's being able to do whatever he wants, and then, well, 2 players pushing through the smoke. I don't think there was any chance he was going to miss that.
Yeah, they just had a bunch of players take fights with the auto sniper as Smith was able to get out. They need to at least flash him into a position that he'd like jumps back into Z, for example, and then it's much harder for him to come back out of cover. Instead, they all come out, identify where someone is, and just try to take fights. Doesn't seem to be the best thing to do. And Rinda now looks like he is just trying to cause a quick, I don't know, if he was going to try to jump out off of that and maybe his teammates split outer. But, oh, Shocks not taking that fight versus the shoulder peek for fear of going on cycle, and instead will hold patiently. And it seems like he will still have an opponent to deal with. This would be quite a flick, but no! The double peek from MVP, very good of them to do so.
Yeah, they gave him 2 targets for once.
Yeah.
The thing is now they do individually push back out of upper, and, well, that's going to be a nice, easy frag for Smiths. Back to the AWP. He's done with his auto sniper days, although it was fairly successful, has to be said. And, well, there we go again, just rotating back around to the A site. It seems like this is the way that they're trying to deal with things, just rotate around.
Damn.
Nice flick from Smiths. Not going to hit the second, but at this stage, it doesn't really matter. 1 player left, Argency trying to get them to 3. He's got 4 players to find, and RPK will end him.
That's really rough. I think one thing that is pretty apparent about MVP, they have I think what's ironic about the way that they're rotating and changing sites so quickly is they're like, okay, now go outer. But the funny thing about that is that you're more often than not going to play 4-1 anyways. So they're not causing any rotations. I'm not sure if they feel like outer is weak because there are only 3 players there. But you're going to have a Z rotate come out quickly. And typically to decide to bust down ladder after maybe a fake inner could make sense. But they're not causing anybody to move from G2 in the first place. So what is setting them off? Like what is the info that they're getting that's allowing them to be like, all right, now out is a good place to go. It's not from G2 side. They're like, come to either side. We're still fortified. You haven't gotten any kills. You're not going to cause a rotation. And MVP for some reason are seeing opportunities. But here is the pistol round. They are so good on these pistol rounds. It seems.
Yeah, still got like some aim skill. There's no doubt in that. Some of the rounds they've actually been playing very well was with the Tech 9. So, you know for a fact that they do definitely have the pistols down to a T, but they've still got a couple more players to find. Scream and, well, it was Shocks. He's already out now, and, well, that is going to be another pistol. So, almost ringing true to what you said earlier, that they can win those pistols. Yeah,
right here.
They just need to work on sort of the rest of it. I do feel like, in terms of the scoreline, I don't want to say that there was like, oh yeah, no, they came close in rounds, so the game would have been much closer. But I do feel like that they have had rounds where I thought, okay, they could have taken that. That was actually a decent showing, but things went wrong in the afterplant scenarios. Like, there were some definite holes. Like, Shock shouldn't be able to walk in and get an ace on a retake or 3 kills on a retake with an AWP. But when you're playing against someone like Shock, sometimes it's just very, very difficult to even make anything happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's all... I don't know. If I don't see like a particularly interesting 2vx where the communication is obviously a huge factor in why they won, and they're, you know, if they can hit shots and throw standard executes, well, everybody can do that, right? Just DM and get an offline server and practice those smokes and flashes. But if you want to beat a team like G2, you have to have like your communication has to play obviously a huge factor in these rounds, and it isn't. And then we also have to see kind of a lack of desperation, which sometimes. On a couple of the rounds, MVP were just throwing caution to the wind. And this flash, not so good. Body, though. Yeah, Body and RBK both going to punish it. And now it's only 2 players up from MVP. Ardency, the backup bomb, is spotted, but is going to get traded immediately by Shocks. And now Zing is left in a 1v2 and an MP9. Not a fun place to be.
Yeah, MP9 versus 2M4s. There's a chance to get RPK, who's getting a little bit close, but you can already see the position being held at the moment. The smoke will go down to block off Sharks, gives him an opportunity, but will actually miss the spray completely, and that's going to be the second time that they've won the first round and lost the second. So not doing too well in those anti-ecos. Very difficult against some of the best players in the world, but at the same time, they still need to be stepping up.
Yeah, no, it just goes to show you how 50-50 pistol rounds can be in the first place, and how much of it just comes down to getting those headshots. But when you give the advantage, when you give a team an advantage in the economy, and here we're running through some highlights. Very nice shot from Smith.
Well, that was what I was talking about in terms of predictability, because he was over towards B, and then just the second he got that kill, he switched over towards A. Just I'm going to hold here now because they have rotated so much. Yeah. And they just walked into his crosshair. So
that was the info they got, that they heard op at B, like, oh, run A now. But the Z rotate is only 2 seconds. So
yeah, that's the big problem. That connector really does give a good avenue for the CT side. In terms of this round, they have managed to get the first kill. Rinder with the Deeg. Definitely someone to watch with those pistols. He's been great with the Tech-9, good in the pistol rounds. Now with the Deeg, but unfortunately that doesn't seem like it's going to be anywhere near enough for them to get close to G2. However, maybe later in the day, if some of those individual players step up, you never know, them playing against Flipside or FaZe, there's an opportunity for them, but I still feel like it may be just a bridge too far.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
not riding the optimism train.
Yeah, not close to convinced quite yet. Again, I just, I think in terms of preparation, they've shown that they've done enough. They're ready to play train, I suppose, but they haven't shown us anything special, in my opinion.
No, the big thing for me is like work on after plants, because they did get the bomb down quite a few times and with a man up. And that was the bigger problem for me. In terms of this round, it's looking like it's pretty closed case, as we will see a few players drop body, will end their life. And now we are getting towards that map point. So coming down to what we expected, at the beginning there were a few sort of nice rounds where I was thinking, okay, maybe we're going to see, but eventually, once the AWP came into play, Double Op set up the auto sniper, and we just saw G2 start styling.
Yes, definitely. Handed the opportunity, the two second rounds where they've had a clear advantage and they couldn't close those up, so now have to work from behind. 5-7s, Deagles, very mixed by, goodwill by. Do you have goodwill here?
Yeah, goodwill. Yeah, no, that makes sense. No, I know what you mean by that.
Just ragtag by, yeah.
But here we go. There's going to be an aggressive push coming out. Scream is waiting. He will have heard the footsteps, and the flash won't have actually done anything to him just yet. Still just waiting. Shox has already found the kill onto Zig, and now Scream, he will combine the headshot to just remove one more player from the map. 3 players left to try and keep them in contention. Make that 2. And, well, I think we are coming to what will be a 16-3 close.
Nothing but takeaways for MVP, who I think got. I won't say it's a reality check. I'm not gonna come out here and say that they expected to win. I'm sure they wanted to just show that they could get something done, and have gotten a taste of what it's like to play a top European team on LAN. But I'm sure it won't be that much of a surprise to them. I'm sure they're going to be disappointed that they didn't close out those second rounds, that they, on some of these executes, lost in the retakes, as we highlighted, and can have a little bit of data and a demo to go back with. I think the cool thing about playing a team that's like so much better than you is that when you go and play your next match, no matter how badly you got lost, you realize that everybody, they're just humans, like that team that you play at home now, they're really going to be not as scared, I think, to go up against them. And I have a lot of faith in the Korean work ethic, that they just do.
For sure.
Yeah, across all esports. Like I used to play StarCraft myself, so I got a taste of what it was like to have to play in a Korean community very early on. But I have a lot of faith in how much effort they're going to put in. I think that's one highlight that the UK scene and North American scene can maybe take from them. But
don't bring up the UK scene, please.
Yeah.
Please, it hurts me enough as it is.
What scene?
No, that's fair. That's fair. Of course, only one US team here, so we'll see after Cloud9 play whether you're still as smug as you are now. But either way, that is the end of the game. No surprise by the result. Definitely stuff to take away. I'd like to sort of add to what you were saying, like they can learn from this. You always learn more from a loss. That's just a fact. If you win, normally you can walk away and you say, like, let's be honest, G2 are not going to learn anything from this game.
No.
So, because they won 16-3, it's easy. For MVP, they know that there was definitely some successes, like the Tech-9s, the pistols, that works great for them. After plant positions, definitely something they've got to analyze and look into because, well, obviously you can't always take into account the shocks factor on retakes, but he shouldn't be able to get an ace on a retake. That just shouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Either way, that is it for this match. We will be back shortly with another, but of course we are going to go to a break and then back to the analyst desk with Red Eye.
E-gaming bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2, make a prediction for picks and bans.
Playing CSGO, guess the number of rounds in a certain match.
Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Getting tired of playing with the usual skins, but don't have enough money to buy a new one? Get rich fast with CSGoFast.com. CSGO Fast. It's a strong chance of winning in every game. Several rooms with different game modes. Daily, more than 1,000 games, 5,000 players, and 25,000 skins at stake. You don't need much in order to sweep the board.